Hey everybody, Tom Schmidt here, CEO of Vive, with a very exciting video for you today. I'm going to walk you through how to enroll a new customer in Texas AutoPilot Energy. So what we're doing is we're helping our customers save money on their electricity in the great state of Texas. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. This is just the basic justvive.com website. Of course, it will also work on your replicated site as well. Everything looks just the same. And what you're going to do is you're going to click on Get Started. And everybody should recognize this page, certainly. So what you want to do is you want to put the new customers, or the new customer would put their email in here. Just like normal, they would put home and they would select their location. In this case, it'll be Texas. So yesterday, if you had done this, it would not show you electricity as an option. But now when I click continue, that electricity option is now available. Before I go on, I want to point out one thing, which is if I were to go in here and select energy and cable bundle, then when I go through the checkout process, it's going to ask me for my credit card so that the company can charge your fee when you get a savings on your cable bill. If, on the other hand, the customer comes in and all they do is electricity, there's no credit card needed. So don't be confused by that. If you see a credit card on there, it's because you've put in a second product that requires a credit card. But so for this example, we'll just do electricity. We selected one and we'll proceed to checkout. Next thing you do is you just you fill out your name, the email populates, you'll have a mobile phone number there, and then you'll put in your address. I'm going to do that, and then we'll make sure that this says Texas. So now you have your address filled in. Now there's new fields here that you guys haven't seen before, but it should be pretty straightforward. So the first one you have to do is you have to select your transmission provider. So in Texas, we have 5. And if somebody doesn't know which one they have, they can select other. By the way, I want to remind everybody, don't forget there's a chat link down here in the bottom right-hand corner. You can always get on live chat if you have any questions while the customer is going through this. And as you may have heard, we're about to add text message chat as well. But so for my example, I'll select CenterPoint Energy. Now in that area, there's certain information that the retail electricity provider needs in order to complete your enrollment. So the first thing is the enrollment type. And there's 2 options here. Either you're switching service, which means you still are living in the same residence and you're on a different provider and now you're changing your electricity provider. Sometimes people will do this when they move into a new apartment. They'll have to select a provider. And if that's the case, they want to select new service at this address. And then you need the service start date. And this is important. If you've watched the video that Rob Cantrell put up about Texas Energy, you know that on the top of the customer's bill, it'll say their contract term. And the best thing to do is if you have a customer who's currently under a contract, just put the date that is at the end of that contract. For my example, I'm just going to do 12/21. But we'll look at the bills when they come in, and if there's an issue about whether the customer is changing a contract where they might incur a termination fee, we'll double check that for them. Also, obviously, that service start date would work. Let's say that the customer is planning to move into a new apartment next Tuesday. You would want to put next Tuesday's date or maybe Monday's date as the start date. And then you have some options on preferred terms. So I'm going to suggest that everybody put in just find me the best price. That way we can look at all the options available for the customer and pick the best one. But some customers say, you know what, I want a 24-month plan. And typically the longer term that you agree to, the lower the price. And so keep that in mind. But my advice is always just find me the best price. And the reason for that is sometimes, like if somebody were to enroll next week, we might look at the market and say, you know what, the best plan is an 8-month plan. Because we expect that first of all, we can give them a low rate for that 8 months. And then when they renew, they ought to achieve lower rates for the next year or so. So the best thing to do there is, like I said, just find me the right price. And then you have a green energy preference. And here you can put no preference, which means we'll be looking again for the best provider and the best price and the best deal for that customer. But if they want to, they can select 100% green energy, and that's going to increase their rate a little bit, but some people want that, and that's important. Then we get to the identification section, and you've got to do things like put in here your date of birth. So I'll put 1980. You need your driver's license number and a social security number and your mother's maiden name, so that in many cases, the provider will want to run a credit check on the customer. And so that information is important for that. And of course, as always, this is all secured on the secured server, and the information is encrypted once it's received. So there's no risk associated with that information being compromised. Then there's this option to auto lock. This is where you would agree to a new or extended electricity contract with or without an early termination fee up to 3 years if it results in maximum savings. And so as you can see that little pop-up when you mouse over it, it says often the highest savings are achieved by agreeing to a new or extended service contract. And if you choose auto lock, we'll take advantage of that for you. We'll find a beneficial contract opportunity and arrange it without coming back to the customer and asking them additional questions. And so again, we recommend that everybody select that option and make that little slider go over and turn pink. Then you get to the point, just like you would do for a cable bill or a cell phone bill, they upload their actual statement from their current utility provider. And you can do that by dragging and dropping it into this box, or if you click browse, it'll open up a folder and you can then select the file. Usually, as always, we prefer that the customer downloads a PDF version of their bill from their provider and just upload that file. If they can't do that for whatever reason, they can take a photo of it, but just make sure that all the information is legible. The better quality of the copy that ViV gets, the easier it'll be for us to handle their enrollment. For this exercise, I'm just going to select, I will provide the bill copy later, and that's certainly an option. But just remember, we can't start working on that customer's account until we get a copy of their bill. So I would encourage people to upload it at the time that they enroll. Once you've filled out all this information up above, then this section here opens up and they can read the AutoPilot energy authorization, that's not easy to say, and broker agreement, and also the letter of authority. What this does is this lets ViV go to the electricity provider and say, see, our customer has authorized us to make the change for them. And this is a very common practice in Texas. There's hundreds of brokers out there where you sign a little agreement that says the broker is authorized to act on my behalf. And when the customer checks that box, they're agreeing to those agreements to give ViV authority to go enter into an agreement for them. After you've done all that, we're going to hit checkout now. And the system will identify if you made any errors. And I was hoping that would happen. So it says, please correct these 2 errors and try again. So you go back through. I thought that might happen right there. So I didn't put the slashes in the date. So we'll fix that one. And then let's see, what was the other error that I made? Oh, please specify a weekday. That's interesting. So let's try that. And I think everything else looks good, right? Check out now. Hey, it worked. So this is the completion page. If you get to this page, then the customer knows they're fully enrolled, and it has some information here about the service, how they can check on it. If they have questions, they can email us. It also mentions start telling your friends, let them know about AutoPilot. And this is an important thing for you guys that are consultants, is that the more people that we can switch, the better deals we can get, right? Because the retail energy providers that we talk to, they'll be a lot more interested in giving us a lower rate the more customers that we bring them and the bigger client we become. And so it's a very important thing. Keep that in mind. Your clients can refer their friends, and of course, you guys can bring in more customers. Each customer, once they complete the enrollment, they have a little back office page where they can log in and see the progress of their effort. Hey, we haven't switched you yet. Oh, now you're switched, you're on a new plan, and they can track that information in their back office. And of course, what's going to happen is the system is going to send them an email with their login information for that account. Now, what's interesting also is that if you have an existing customer, let's say their email address is bob@johnson.com, then if that customer comes in and enrolls for electricity, that same back office account will work for all their bills and their electricity stuff. So it's not going to create a new one for that person. It'll recognize that they already have an account, and it'll ask them to log in while they're going through this enrollment process. Just like If you have an existing customer who's uploaded their Verizon bill, but they haven't done their DirecTV bill, they can log into their account and there's an option to upload another bill. In this case, they would have the option to switch to electricity. So that's it. It's just that easy. A couple things to remember. Number one is, like in every state, we don't want to do any sort of door-to-door selling for electricity, because if you do, there's all sorts of additional Public Utility Commission rules and regulations that you'd have to follow, and we don't want to get into that. So no door-to-door signing up strangers. It's just people, your friends, family, people that you know, people you work with, that sort of thing. Number two, you don't need a credit card for electricity switching in Texas. There's no monthly fee. But if you put two things in your card, like a Verizon bill and electricity, it will pop up and need a credit card for the Verizon bill. So that's important to remember. And then also always remember, you can always go to the live chat there and chat with one of our customer care people who can help you answer any questions, solve any problems that may come up. In the meantime, everybody get going, start switching customers. We're looking forward to the 1,000 existing VEEV customers switching over into Texas electricity AutoPilot, and very excited about the future of the company with more products coming. Everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.